Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Sleepin' Saturday. It's Q&A day. Thank God for that extra sleep-in today, because me and Mara flew in from Florida, landed in New York, drove an hour through crosstown traffic, dropped off Grandma Terry at her house.
I told you were going to hit that
But we hit it.
St. Patrick's Day traffic.
We hit it. We hit it, and then we hit it going out, too. So we got back late. And then she's got an electric car, so we had to pull over and charge it.
Oh.
It takes some time to charge a car.
I tell you something, Raghunath. I was walking around yesterday. I ran into that St. Patrick's Day parade.
Oh, really? Never been.
And I'll tell you something. Those bagpipes, that stuff's like
Bagpipes
powerful.
It's a peculiar instrument, huh?
It's
Nothing like a
powerful.
bagpipe. And maybe like an oboe. It's like 7 oboes.
Well, it's like a shanai. It's like a bunch of shanais in there.
It's like a bunch of shanais.
And when you hear that, even from a distance, you know, Prabhupada appreciated the bagpipes. You know, we had once. What was the device? Madhudvisa. He arranged like a kirtan with like bagpipes and a whole Scottish like marching thing, and Prabhupada really liked it.
For Prabhupada?
Yeah, because it's like
Madhudvisa,
it's a transcendental sound. You know.
Yeah, we were just with Madhudvisa's wife.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
To go over to Eco Village.
That's right.
Hey, that was pretty cool. They got a shout out from Jay Shetty and Dax Shepard on the podcast. That was pretty cool. It was a double shout out. Dax Shepard used to listen to Shelter. He said he had a bunch of Shelter shirts.
Yeah, he did.
I thought they were going to go into Wisdom of the Sages, but they didn't get there. I was like, keep going. Keep saying something.
What's his podcast called?
Dax Shepard's is armchair expert.
Armchair expert.
Yeah, if you want to listen to that shout out. It was at 15 minutes in.
Okay.
And yeah, they probably had no idea that they knew each other, but then Jay mentioned me and then he's like, oh, Raghunath. I think we got to get on those podcasts.
Go for it.
All right, So it's Q&A day. If you're listening to this on Facebook, welcome to the show. We do a study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the classic literature on Bhakti. If you were to say, what's the most essential teachings of Bhakti, people would direct you right to this book. It's 18,000 verses of how to connect the spirit with the divine. And it's told through these fascinating stories that are called histories of the universe. The great sages don't call them myths. They call them histories of the universe.
I'm not sure if they throw the of the universe in there.
You know? Well, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's a history
True.
of the universe. Maybe I just made that up. Maybe the great sages
Well,
don't
Purana
say
means
that.
histories, right?
Purana means old.
Yeah, or
right?
you could say
Puran.
history. You can say it like that too.
All right, it means old history. Yeah, history. It's old.
Yeah.
But it's a history of the of Bhagavan, of all the different times Bhagavan, one who is complete with all opulences, manifested on this planet. You know what's interesting? They say that Bhagavan manifests like a road show, a traveling road show on all the different planets. So as he manifests here, also manifests on other planets. It's happening right now on other planets.
We have to go there.
Interesting concept, isn't it?
Would you like to travel through the different universes?
Yeah. Yes, I would. Yes, I would, if you want to know the God honest truth. But anyway, if you're listening to this on Facebook, on Saturdays, we sleep in, we wake up at 8 o'clock and do questions from our audience. And you can write a question in too. You can email this lady, Nitya Siddhi, knitting away. We call her Nitya Siddhi, at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Tomorrow, we're announcing our Wisdom of the Sages retreat at Super Soul Farm. It's been top secret. Nobody knows about it. There's no
I've been saying that last week. You said
I know.
You're going to get it together this time for real?
I'm going to get it together tonight. No, it won't. Okay, we're going to announce it Monday. And special guest.
No show tomorrow?
Nandana Swami. There'll be no show tomorrow.
No show tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Then we're back at what time on Monday?
6 a.m.
We're back at 6 now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into it, Rogan.
Let's dive into the questions. And the first is from one of our regular Zoomers. We call her Stellar Amy. Her name happens to be Amy Stellar from New Jersey. Great lady. Here it goes. Regarding reincarnation, reference Bhagavad Gita verses 6.42 to 6.45. Arjuna wants to know what happened to one who practices yoga for some time, but for some reason or other does not become completely self-realized and gives up the body at death. What is the destination of such a person? Right? With that in mind, as a yoga teacher, teaching yoga to a primarily Judeo Christian population, how do I teach this philosophy without offending? My humble obeisances, your student, Amy Stellar. Don't you love Amy Stellar?
Yeah, she's great.
She's got a real eagerness to learn spiritual truths. The more I hang with her, the more I realize how sincere she is.
She is very sincere.
And she teaches yoga in New Jersey. You want to answer that first? It's for both of us.
Sure, I don't mind getting started with that. I like the question because there's a certain sensitivity in it. Like when I present these, it's kind of a question like saying, how can I best present these ancient teachings? And that's what we like. We like it when we're into spiritual teachers that aren't like, hey, I'm this self-realized person and I've got my own philosophy. No. We like it when someone's like, I'm not making this stuff up. This has been handed down for thousands and thousands of years. My job is to present it accurately, right? My job is to present it in a way that the audience can understand it too, translate it, make it relevant, but not change it or not create it. And so Amy's saying, I have a certain audience of people, and as a yoga teacher, I'm trying to present these truths, but my audience has a whole different frame of reference, and even just even presenting some aspects of this, like for instance, she's mentioning reincarnation, may trigger or may shut people down from their ability to hear more. So what to do about that? And I have a couple things I could say. One thing is this: usually when I speak publicly, I start by saying, here's my role, right? I'm not here to try to convince you of anything. I'm not here to try to, convert you to something or change your mind about something or anything like that. I've heard you say this. It's very good, what do you call it? It indemnifies you to say, I'm just a teacher here. That's right. And I'm presenting a tradition. Yeah, I follow it. I've invested my faith in it. I don't expect you necessarily to invest your faith in it or not in all of it. But my role is to present it accurately, and then you take it and do with it what you want to do, which is even what Krishna says to Arjuna at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Like, think about this deeply and then do what you want to do. And so by saying that, and then I usually say, but I may be speaking in a certain way. Like I may speak about reincarnation as if it's just a fact. I'm not trying to impose that on you, but I'm just presenting the tradition as it's been presented. So even a little framing out your message like that can go a long way for someone just to say, rather than when you speak about those topics within their own mind, putting up blocks or resistance, but it can open them up to say, okay, this is what this person believes. Let me hear it. So even just like a little intro like that can be important. But beyond that, let's say like if I were say I was somehow moved to, I don't know, some all Christian place where like Christianity was like really
Nashville.
prominent. Yeah, okay, Nashville.
Whenever you teach in the South, you got to
maybe another country or something like that. Yeah, you know, I might say, I've often said this, if I were ever to be a politician in the United States,
yeah,
right, I would learn the Bible inside and out. Right.
That's smart, I think.
Yeah, because and I would use the best parts of it, like to kind of like inspire people, like, hey, this is what you all believe. Let's live it, right? And I believe that you can do, like, if I were speaking to a Christian audience, there's so much there within Jesus's teachings that are entirely harmonious with the yoga teachings. That there would be no, I could, and different people teach on different levels. Like we mentioned Jay Shetty earlier in the show, right? He comes from this tradition, but he presents like the I don't know exactly how I'd characterize it, but like he's definitely not dogmatic. He's presenting just like the outer edges of the wisdom of it, but to a very broad audience, right?
Yeah.
That allows him to reach a very broad audience. You and I, we present it in a more narrow way, but we try to go deep into it. And you can choose where you want to, on what level you want to speak, according to who you're speaking to. But let's just look at what Jesus teaches in the Bible, right? That are harmonious. Like these are the kind of things that you could build into your message. You don't have to talk about reincarnation. Jesus teaches love your enemies, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says live by the golden rule. That
you did a little Bible research this morning, didn't you?
I do Bible research all the time, actually. But these are like simple things. Like whatever you wish that others would do to you, do unto them. Or loving your enemies. Love your enemies and bless those who persecute you. These are Jesus's teachings. Freely forgive. Be forgiving to people. You see, commonly, and not always, but commonly, on the shallower level of how Christianity is taught, some people are teaching on a very deep level, but on that surface level, when people present these things, it's kind of like live like this because Jesus said so, and if you don't, you're sinning, or if you don't, you go to hell.
Right.
We understand them as, living like this opens up your mind and heart to be able to benefit from the spiritual practices, right? So therefore, live by the golden rule. Therefore, be very forgiving, therefore, don't be judgmental, judge not, Jesus teaches us, right? Judge not, or you will be judged,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus teaches to be very careful with your words and what you say, how you speak. He teaches to live honestly, to serve others, to live with humility. These are, if you feel that going deeper into presenting yoga, if there's aspects of the yoga culture, philosophy that will not be appreciated, then share those aspects that will be appreciated, that won't that won't shut a person down, and then see where it goes. And as faith builds, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. So those are some thoughts,
I like it.
Let's hear what you have to say.
I like it. Yeah. Well, I went from the other angle because I know she's a yoga teacher and I'm a yoga teacher. So like, how do you take these things like reincarnation or like this particular verse from the Gita about the unsuccessful yogi? And because I've worked with a lot of these things also, first of all, I want to say when a person signs up for a yoga class, now they're in my zone and I'm representing the yoga philosophy. Like in the old days of trying to explain Krishna consciousness in the punk scene, everything was a war with these anarchists. It's like we were fighting over everything. There is no God. Screw you. Life has no purpose. And it taught you really had to like debate and logic. But if you think about it, if you're signing up for a yoga class, this is what you opted into. This is what you're paying money for.
Although they may not know that. I mean, they may. Okay.
So what I do, what you do, you say, hey, this is how I protect myself. And you can, you can keep this line if you like, Amy. What the great yogis of the past have said, ...
There you go. Yes.
What the great, and that indemnifies you of being dogmatic, being a preacher, trying to like convert them. What the great yogis of the past have said is that life is eternal, that spirit never dies, that we're all spiritual beings having a material experience, that we're here for a short time, that life is here to grow, to improve, to evolve. And so I can't even say, I won't even go into sort of, it depends on who the audience is, of course. Sometimes I do go to Nashville or these places in the deeps or Florida where there's a lot of Christians and I have to be a little bit more delicate, but I first indemnify myself. And then I'll say something, well, here's how they teach, here's how they teach reincarnation. Now, if I was just to talk about reincarnation, sound really far-fetched. But listen how the Bhagavad Gita, which is the essential teachings of India explain reincarnation. As the soul, right? So we are a soul. We don't have a soul. We are a soul. As the soul changes bodies in this life, right? Childhood, youth to old age, right? So that's reincarnation right there. If you want to understand reincarnation, you don't have to think about becoming a plant or a goose or a deer or a chimpanzee. Think about it in this lifetime. We are reincarnating now. As we change bodies, what else do we change? What else does the soul change? The soul changes bodies and it changes minds, right? Can you remember your 5-year-old mind? Your 17-year-old mind? We change intelligence. We change egos. Those all change. And we witness them change. I remember my 17-year-old mind, right? So the question is, I witness them. They're changing. I am separate from that change. So I would explain like that is what the yogis call reincarnation. And they say, as you can witness those changes, we have an opportunity to upgrade how the body changes, upgrade how the mind changes, upgrade how the intelligence changes, or, and been there, done that, we can degrade the body, we can degrade the mind, we can degrade the intelligence. So they say that this human life is just an opportunity at every moment to upgrade or degrade my life. And they say at the next life, whether you want to call it Christian or whatever spiritual path you want to call it, we have an opportunity to evolve in our next life or devolve in our next life. And the Judeo Christian culture may call that heaven or hell. But in India, they say it's a constant chance to grow or go down, go up or go down.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll do a workshop exclusively on reincarnation. And that way, people who really want to know that stuff will come around, and you could read quotes and stuff like that and go through different books. So, Amy, if that's an idea, you could do a class exclusively on that. Otherwise, you got to figure out how to pepper it in so it doesn't cause too much freak out. I keep it within this life, in this life.
Okay. Thank you, Roga.
Yeah. It's a delicate act of giving spiritual truth. We call it giving some medicine. You give some spiritual truth, because if you don't give the medicine, they don't get better. But if you give too much medicine, you kill them, right? And they'll be like, I don't want to go to this crazy preacher lady's class anymore. She's nuts. All she does is chant all the time and lecture us. No, you got to give just enough where they feel like I'm getting better. And they want to come back. We got a lot of yoga teachers in listening right now. So give the medicine, but don't kill the patient.
Okay.
Here's the next one. This is from another Sherry Yannick. Oh, she's up there in the list of question answer askers.
You skipped over one, but we can do Sherry's next. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ryan. Okay, we'll go back to Ryan because I already introduced Sherry.
Okay.
And by the way, asking questions is a sign of spiritual evolution often, because that's part of no one wants to be we're not looking for blind followers. To really sharpen our spiritual intelligence, you got to ask questions. Hello. I have so much gratitude for all three of you. Kastuba, Raghu, and Mara. Oh, Mara gets brought in.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thanks, Sherry. Sometimes it's Kastuba, Raghu, and the rest. Like the Gilligan's Island. And the rest. Okay, for many years, I have had a really intense fear of my own death. Okay, I'm going to like this one. While I fully accept reincarnation, and understand the fact that we all die, we don't actually understand it. While I fully accept reincarnation and understand the fact that we all die, I really struggle with my own mortality. I get incredibly fearful when I think about my own death. Fearful as in I actually had panic attacks while thinking about my own inevitable death. And it's a hard thing to conceptualize that my mind will die. I know the soul will not, but still I have deep fears about my own death and accepting that I will no longer be here. Any advice, text that would help, insight, etc. Much gratitude from Oceanside, California, Sherry Yannick.
You want to start?
Yeah. First of all, your mind doesn't die. The mind, the subtle body, the mind, intelligence, and ego travel with the soul to the next life. And that's where we get, people coming into this world with different proclivities, strengths, weaknesses, anxiety. Oftentimes people, they say, who died some traumatic way, will have some type of phobia towards fire, towards heights, towards water, etc. But it's completely understandable that death is a fearful thing, and it's completely ununderstandable that you get that we will die. We all say, I get we all die. We don't get we will die. If we really got we will die, we would be incredibly, spiritually conscious right this moment. But we think the greatest illusion is we think we will live forever, and there's no urgency, right? Like if there was a fire in my house right now, there would be such an urgency to get the hell out of the house. But I'm like, I wouldn't be hanging out. If we had really understood that how temporary the body is, we would be doing so incredibly focused on our spiritual life. So we don't get the fact that we will die. I just want to point that out. And that's part of Maya. That's part of illusion. But doing everything that you're doing will start to minimize anxiety of death, which is to zoom out and to understand that we have a separate existence than our mortal frame. We actually have a separate. Once we get that, just even if you're completely new to this, just to understand that you're not your body and your mind, that is a massive relief for some people. I've said that you're not the body, you're not the mind, you're something divine in a yoga class. And someone came up to me, many people have come up to me after class going, thank God you said that. Oh my God, what a relief that is. Just to understand that on a little level, I'm not my mind, can relieve you from the greatest pain, or I'm not my body. That's a huge relief for a lot of people because they suffer with the body, they suffer with their mind, they suffer with their ego. You're not your stuff, telling the people that they actually own nothing. It's a little painful, but I don't own anything here. So understanding this philosophy is supposed to help you exactly with what you're going through, Sherry. And you're doing it. Sherry shows up regularly, hearing the message of the Bhagavatam. That's how we change. We hear this stuff every day. We don't hear it at a yoga teacher training for one day and then forget about it. We hear about this stuff every day, and then we start to apply the practices to our life. It's not just a good book we read. Oh yeah, I'm a spiritual being. Put that book on a shelf. No, we actually hear this stuff on a regular basis, and that becomes the sounding board for philosophical thought and how we think of ourselves and the universe and other people. Kostuba, shed light.
No, you're
shed light,
Jyoti
Pa.
And essentially what you're saying, Raghunath, is there's two levels of knowledge, right? There's knowledge, and then there's realized knowledge. There's jnana, and then there's vijnana, which means jnana means, okay, I know that I'm not my body. That's knowledge. I accept that. I accept the logic behind it. It makes sense to me. To a certain degree, I've invested my faith. Okay, that's what I believe. but it's another thing to realize it and it fully, deeply realize it. And this charts the course of our, a large part of the course of our spiritual progress is getting from that jnana to vijnana, getting from knowledge to wisdom, where you really know it so deep. Now, we just saw a person that you and I knew well, or relatively well, pass away in Vrindavan, Kadambakanda Maharaj. He passed away just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yep.
And you can see in his life, like, I don't know if you've seen it yet, Rogan. I've seen just part of it. I want to go back and see the whole thing. But like about a week before he died, he just like sat before a camera and just spoke. Spoke to his
I didn't see
disciples.
that.
Yeah, he spoke to his disciples, and he's very thin, and he looks, he doesn't look healthy. He doesn't look well, but he's well composed. You can see he's in pain as he speaks. It's not easy to speak and just to sit up, and there's that discomfort that he's tolerating. But he's just speaking with clarity and speaking without fear, right? I'm about to die now. I'm okay with that. I've come to terms with that. This is, you
It's
can
like
see
a sobriety.
sober, the depth of his faith. Yeah. And now this and Sherry's telling us that she's seen that video, so that's good. And so here's the point. We all need to be at that. We all need to come to that level where we can face death without fear too, where we, and it's, in what sense, it's kind of like anything else in the world. Like for instance, like sometimes I speak to large crowds of people,
Sure.
And at a certain point in my life, I thought there's no way I can do that, And then you just step by step, you learn more, you speak to smaller crowds, you speak to bigger crowds, you speak to still bigger crowds. And then before you know it, you're speaking to large crowds of people, and other people are looking and saying, I could never do that. And I'm just like, well, that's just what I've learned to do.
Right.
And so right now for you, it may seem like facing death, coming to when it's standing right in front of me, I'm going to be freaking out. Well, maybe right now you would be. But you have, step by step, you can prepare yourself for this moment and be really prepared when you face it. And what Raghunath is saying is regularly hearing this. And I would say beyond just regularly hearing these from these texts and these teachings, you reflect on these teachings, as you go through life. You think about them, you reflect on them as you go through the different circumstances of your life. We should be thinking about our death on a daily basis, but not just in a morbid way, but we should really, what we need to be thinking about.
Yeah, not like how it's going to happen, the tragedy.
No, but really what we're meant to be contemplating is the nature of the self. I am not this body. When we fully realize that, when we really realize that this body is just a vehicle that I'm moving around in right now, that's something we need to contemplate regularly on a daily basis. And it'll go deeper. And then as your body begins to age, you will begin to disassociate yourself from it in a sense, right? This is the vehicle that I'm in right now, but it's just a vehicle. And I can tell right now it's not what it used to. And even as you're going through that, it's going to help you through the aging process where you're not like, oh no, I'm getting wrinkles, or oh no, I'm going gray, or I'm losing my hair. I'm not as appealing. You'll let go of that, knowing that, yeah, I'm in a bag of flesh that is destined to grow old and die. And you become comfortable with that idea. You have to become comfortable with that idea. How can you be comfortable knowing that? Because I'm not this bag of flesh. I am that spark of eternal light, that illuminates this bag. And that light goes on to a better destination, at death. One has to contemplate that and think about this again and again and again and again.
You beautiful bag of flesh.
No, but it's not the bag. It's the soul that is so beautiful, so powerful. Begin to identify. We need to transfer our identity from the body and even the mind to the self, and the deeper that goes, the easier it is that we'll face death. And I'll say this, that Cherry, you may think it seems like I'm at a disadvantage because not everybody has like this incredible fear of death. Maybe your fear of death, maybe that condition that you have will drive you more intensely than others to understand the nature of the self. And if that's the case, then it's a blessing.
I like that.
You like that?
I was thinking how, I returned that rental car yesterday, and then you got you got to walk to the bus that takes you to the terminal. Takes you, you transfer from the rental car to the bus that takes you to the next place. So I was thinking, yeah, this is us. I'm not going to
switching over.
We're just switching vehicles. We're just switching vehicles. It shouldn't be like, I got to get out of the car. I got to get in the car. I'm not freaking out because I got to get in the car. It's that smooth. You're like, here's the car. I filled it back up with gas. And where is the connector bus, please? It's going to be that smooth for you, Sherry. It's going to be that smooth. You're not going to even think twice. Because it's not just you in studying these books also. It's also that little Krishna is personally taking care of you. He eases it for you. He's a real interactive player in this game as well. It's not just you alone and how am I going to focus and meditate at the time of death. Krishna is going to enter into your mind, and it's going to be a smooth transition.
There you go.
He's a smooth operator. Krishna's a smooth operator.
Song does not sound like that, Raghunath.
Okay. That's a good question, wasn't it?
That's helpful.
Here's a really good question from Ryan.
Okay. Ryan is also known as godly worm food, just in case you didn't know.
Oh, that's godly worm food.
Yes. Which you see, he's contemplating death right now. He knows his body will become food for the worms, right?
Well, he's not godly worm food, but his body is. His
right.
Beautiful bag. His beautiful meat pouch. Haribo! Over the past year, I've been approached twice while in my vehicle. Where does he live? Florida?
I don't know.
In my vehicle due to my coexist bumper sticker.
You know the coexist bumper sticker?
I know the one that my neighbor has, which is, did you ever see that one down the street? It's got a coexist bumper sticker, but it's all written with weapons.
Okay.
That's not the one Ryan has. It's coexist with
different symbols of the world's different spiritual
and the
traditions.
Jewish star and yes. So he's got one of those, like, we're all in this together. All religions are one. Coexist.
That's it, okay.
Which probably makes certain Christians irate.
Not just Christians, but yeah.
Yeah, or anybody who's a fundamentalist of anything. Yeah. Okay, so he says he's got this coexist bumper sticker, and twice he was approached by people. He assumes they were Catholic, but I don't think it's the Catholics' modus operandi to approach people with code. It's more like
Baptists, I think,
born agains, due to their
Catholics can be
preaching
like
of
that.
Jesus being the only way to God. From being caught off guard, and it triggered my own Catholic upbringing. I would like to be more prepared the next time these guys hit me up. So my question is, what is your sweet and simple Hare Krishna pitch? Like an elevator pitch you say to people who are like, don't you understand? There is no coexistence. There's my way, the highway. Thank you for all you do. Sincerely, Ryan. What would you say if you were driving your truck with your coexist bumper sticker, and as soon as you got out of the car, someone goes, Gostuba, I appreciate your wanting unity and love, but
you're going to go to hell for that.
Way to God. And the rest are going right, kicking the express train to hell.
I mean, this is kind of some similar principles going back to Amy's question, right? Like, it depends who you're speaking to. So I didn't know exactly how to answer this question. Is it how to respond exactly to like a fundamentalist? Or
he feels like, oh, they got me. But like he wants to keep it. What would you say simply? What would you say simply? He doesn't want to have a long debate with them, or maybe he does, but he wants like sort of an elevator pitch to sort of like.
Well,
so
let's assume
walk away from that.
Let's assume that the person that came up isn't just so fundamentalist that they're not willing to hear anything. Let's assume that there's some genuine inquisitiveness in them.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Sure.
Okay. So then, so what do you believe? Well, I believe that the body is just a vehicle for the soul, the eternal soul, which is the true self. And I believe that we find our fulfillment through love and through service to God and to all living beings, which requires selflessness, right? And that the human life is an opportunity to fully realize this. And if we don't fully realize it, then we come back again, we to try to do it again. And truths that relate to this can be found throughout the world's spiritual traditions. Now, that's what I believe. I don't know if that's what you believe. That's okay. If you don't believe that, you go ahead and do what you want to do. But if you think I'm going to go to hell for that, well, then my suggestion is maybe maybe you're not really understand. I can't see how a loving God would condemn someone eternally for that. But if you do, then maybe you need to re-examine your own Bible a little bit more. I don't know, something like that.
You would give them too much time.
No, I wouldn't. We're assuming that this person was sincerely inquisitive. That's why I started with that. If they weren't,
right? Okay. You know what I would do? I get out of my truck. I'm at Walmart. Somebody comes up to me and says, there's one way to God. I would just say, is it Jesus? And they'd be like, yes, it's Jesus. I said, I have a calling for Jesus. Can you please pray for me? Can you please pray for me that I will get closer to God? Boom, done. You're out of there. You're not going to change them, Ryan. You're not going to change them. Get them to pray for you. I want the entire world to pray for me. And if they can, I'll engage the Christians to pray for me.
Westboro Baptist Church.
Now there are times that I want to have fun with them too. There are times where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go around with these guys, and I will start it off like this. Let me ask you a question, and you know where I'm going with this immediately. Do you believe that God is the most adorable, beautiful attractive person in the entire universe? Do you believe that God is the most attractive person in the universe? And they have to say, yes, I do. Then you say, okay. Now, do you understand also that things have different names and different, like how you say car in French and car in, Germany and car in English? You say the same, you talk about the same thing, but it has a different name. Yes, I do. Okay. In that case, Krishna is just a translation of the most beautiful, attractive person in the universe. And I 100% accept that Jesus is the son of Krishna. Thank you very much. I'm going into Walmart now. And that drives them crazy, but I don't want to drive them crazy. That's what I used to do that's what I used to drive when I was a little younger. Now I just say, please pray for me. Pray for me.
You had that photo of you at the LA Ra Teatro with like the Westboro Baptist Church there, whoever it was.
Yeah, those guys. Those guys that's beyond fanatic. There's Christians who are just sort of like, they just believe that they're Christian is, like I was in a Christian group. You know that story. I was in the Christian group in college.
I don't know that story.
It's a great story because it's in my book, actually. I'll tell you quickly. It's a good story.
Okay.
I went to college for a year, boss. That's it. And, I was like, man, I don't want to be one of these Animal House, National Lampoon's frat guys. I need some good association. I was a punk. I was a skater, but I was straight edge. And in college, everybody's partying. And so you know what I need? I need some good company. I have the intelligence to think. I wasn't a devotee at all. But so I saw this advertisement for a Christian club. And I joined a Christian club. I kid you not. I joined a Christian club. And, they were a bunch of like nerdy Christian guys. And I was like this crazy punk guy, but they were completely cool. And we completely bonded. And we'd sit in a circle every week and we'd share how we're feeling, what we're going through, what our struggles were.
You were in the Christian sharing circle. Interesting.
I was in a Christian sharing circle. And we'd go to I'd do things with them. We'd go on events. We'd go to hospitals and sing Christmas carols.
How old?
I was 19 or 18. 18 or 19.
Okay.
I don't even know Parmananda knows this.
You're in our band at that time, or what?
I was. Here's the deal. I had and so anyway, I was like, this is a good thing. I felt good. It feels good to go into a hospital and sing to people who are dying or the elderly. And so I would do that. The only thing I didn't do was distribute food because they all distribute meat and I was a vegetarian. I was like, this is wrong, so I can't do it. But I did do all the Christmas caroling and helping people and stuff like that. And I got a lot out of it. And then one day I went to New York City and went to Weiser's, that cool bookstore, and I got the Dhammapada. This is where I first got these teachings of Lord Buddha. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a good book. Because I believed in like a very broad understanding of spirituality. And when you read the Dhammapada, it's all about compassion. and, noble truths and applying wisdom and, charity and things like that. I was like, oh my God, this is like a parallel teaching to Christianity. Wait till my Christian friends hear about this.
They're going to love it. They didn't love it.
And I tell you, I busted that book out because when it was time for sharing at the next meeting, I was like, okay, guys, wait till you hear what I just went away last week and I got this incredible book that I think you guys are going to love because it's like parallel to the Bible. And all their faces went sour real quick. And then the leader of the group was like, well, Ray, we really, it's a Bible study. We try to keep this on the Bible. And I was like, I know, but it's really similar. It's really similar to the Bible. He's like, well, I think for this class, Ray, we just keep it on the Bible.
Okay.
And then, and I was like, I guess that makes sense. And everything was okay. I was just like, okay, there's a Bible study, sure. And then the next guy next door just goes, the next guy after me, he just goes, thank you, Paul, for shutting down Ray and bringing these devil-worshiping books into our circle. These books have taken so many people away from the Lord. And that's when I lost it.
Whoa.
And that's when I lost my mind, and I lost faith in a fundamental understanding of spirituality.
Now, when you say you lost it, I thought it meant you went off on him.
I did go off on him.
Okay.
I did go off on him. I did go off on him. I made a whole scene.
All right.
Well,
Raghunath tears up the Christian reading circle.
They tried to get me back, but it was too much. At that point,
You're
I
too
realized
far gone.
I started to understand the difference between.
They're telling
Christianity-
stories about you in sermons right now. And then there's this guy named Ray.
They-
Right?
He got led away.
He
because
went on to
sometimes
become
there are
a
wolves
Hare
dressed as
Krishna.
dressed in Tibetan Buddhist robes, trying to drag you away from Jesus's lotus feet.
He went on to become of all things, a Hare Krishna cult member.
Oh yeah.
He's lost.
Oh yeah.
All right, Raghu.
You know what I get? I ever meet those preaching Jews on the street too? I love them.
They
Not
just
many
reject you
Jews
as soon as you say
preach.
you're not Jewish.
Well, I look Jewish. So they're preached to you if you were a Jew and they're trying to get you back into Judaism.
Yeah.
So they go up to you.
They
and
want you to do
go-
a ritual.
They go up to you and they go, "Hi, are you Jewish?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm Italian, and they're like, okay, thanks a lot. I was like, wait, talk to me.
Talk to me.
I want to
I want to go on the mitzvah tank.
And they're not interested in me. Once I say I'm not Jewish, they walk away, like they drop me like a hot potato.
Yeah. That's how they work.
And so anyway, now I just say people I don't get into it. I just say pray for me. And those who are eager to hear, I share everything with them.
Okay.
Those are the people who
Raghunath,
yeah.
We got time for one more question, probably.
Okay. This is from Lalita Gopi. Ready?
Yeah, Lalita Gopi. She just lives in New
Lalita
Vrindavan, right?
Gopi. Is she Lalita Gopi from Oz?
I think from New Vrindavan. She's reached out to us before.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive, but I think
My
so.
question and what I really want to hear about is, she doesn't talk like that. Just investing and saving your money. Oh, that's a good question.
All right.
It's a new concept to me, as I have never really had a huge surplus. She's not.
Oh, that means she does now.
She does not have the abundance mentality. That's her problem. You got to think about money all the time if you want to attract money. Hi, I'm Ray Capo. I can help you here. But as I get older, I see that we might need to save for retirement.
Okay.
Yep. Many devotees encourage investing. Really? Never met.
I haven't met them yet.
Never met any. I gotta start hanging out with those devotees. I have always believed that you are spiritually or karmically word. I like that word. Question mark.
Is that a word? Karmically?
Yeah,
Is that
I think
what
it
she's
is
saying?
karmically. Responsible for what you support.
Okay.
Good point. Giving money is like giving your support and encouragement.
Okay.
Good point. We don't want to support the wrong things. And this is a great time to put a patreon.com/wisdom of the sages ad here.
No,
Just-
because that's not an invest. She's looking for an investment. Right?
Well, it's an
Okay.
investment. There's a great return on investment.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. but there is. Should we risk our spiritual bank account for material security? Ooh, I love that question. Make that into a shirt. Do we need to invest in a bank or other things if you risk incurring bad karma and creating harm for others, etc.? For example, once you keep your money in the bank is not just sitting on your money in a basement. They're investing in all types of nefarious things.
Rugging us onto their tricks. I know what those banks are doing. They're investing that money.
They're investing in all the things that are destroying. Monsanto, big pharma, weapons, mass destruction. Do we need to invest in a bank or other
education?
Right action is very important. Yet we also need to be responsible for ourselves in old age, and that requires some savings. What do you think about conscious investing? What are options? Does it even matter? I love that one. I love when you throw your hands up like, does it even matter? This world is like a dream. Do I care about what am I going to invest in the dream? What a great question that is.
Yeah, I guess suppose, it's kind of like essentially, if you boil this right down to its essence, is investing gambling? That's part of the question. Or is investing, if I invest my money in something that's not entirely ethical, do I pay a price for that? What kind of price do I pay for that?
Like a little bit supporting a war, just a little bit.
Well,
innocent people will die.
First of all, I'm not a very financially astute person at all.
You're not?
No. Okay. I don't know anything. I've never used a credit card in my life.
No.
I use a debit card. I don't use a credit card.
You're like Mara.
I've never been in debt. I've never been in debt at all because I don't use a credit card.
That's pretty good.
If I don't have money, I don't spend it.
Mara's the same way. You guys are like,
yeah, but I have mortgages.
Well, she has mortgage, but that's good debt, isn't that? Anyway, it's still debt.
So I suppose when you're a homeowner, you need that gets to the essence of my point. Is it's like there's all these gradations. Bhagavad Gita, you take Bhagavad Gita, it doesn't come out and say, here's the line, don't cross it. But it kind of gives you principles by which you're meant to approach. Like even in the Gita, Krishna is kind of saying, yeah, Arjuna, I get it. People are going to die in this war. But the fact is that every endeavor is covered in some way, by some type of inauspicious. This world is kind of
designed. What's that actual verse, Kostuba?
Oh, I'm forgetting now. Every endeavor is covered by some fault.
Yeah. It's like everyone's got blood on their hands somehow, just living in this world.
The nature of this world is just messy.
But does that mean, does that mean we just throw our hands up and say, whatever, invest in Halliburton?
Well, hold on.
Stocks are going up in Halliburton.
It doesn't mean that. That's why, if you let me continue what I'm saying, I'm saying that it gives us principles to move forward. And, it recognizes that different people are in different circumstances. Like Krishna doesn't ask, Sudama Brahman to go and fight on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He asked Arjuna to do it. Right. So in other words, it kind of recognizes that different people are in different circumstances in life and are going to respond differently. What is dharma for one person is not necessarily dharma for another person. Right. And what are you laughing about? I'm being serious.
No, you're right. I'm just thinking to myself, she's not getting an answer for this question, is she?
No, this is the answer. Listen, in other words, no, if you want me to tell you exactly who you should invest your money in, I'm not ready to do that.
I think that's where we're going with this. Is like not a yes or a no.
Well, that's my point. And things are tricky now. Like even we have these 4 regulative principles, and one of them is gambling, right? When one is initiated into this lineage, they take a vow, okay, I won't gamble. But what that means can be a little tricky. Even like nowadays, like intoxication, which like back when we got into this, it was like, it's clear. It seemed like the line was like, as clear as a bell. Nowadays, it's kind of like, well, people are recognizing the medical value of marijuana and things. It's like my doctor's insisting that I smoke marijuana for my Parkinson's or something like that.
Sure.
Am I breaking the principles now, or am I just taking a medicine, or on what level can I be taking
opioids,
medicine?
Right? Or is opioids an intoxicant?
Yeah. So we have to try to always get to the essence of these things, and here, I think the essence, I think there's two things at play. One, are we gambling when we invest money? And two, what is the price that we pay for investing in something that is in any way unethical, right? Now here's one thought, Raghunath, is that if you got, let's say you got $20,000 sitting in the bank, right?
Yeah.
If you don't do anything with that money, and again, I'm the wrong guy to talk to about this because I've never invested in anything. But if you don't,
once you have it in the bank, it's being invested by somebody else.
But someone else is investing your money.
Sure.
But the value of your money is decreasing as the inflation rate increases. So in one sense, your money is eroding if you don't do anything about it.
Economics with Kostuba.
What's that?
Economics with Kostuba.
Well, I'm telling you, like from what I understand. Okay. If you got $20,000 in the bank and you don't touch it and you come back 5 years from now, it's still $20,000, but it's not worth $20,000 anymore. So
that's why Kostuba invests in gold.
So in one sense, in one sense, you're just letting the value of what you have erode. And one could argue that that's a Tamasic approach.
Sure.
So then what do you do about that? Well, you could say you won't use that money immediately. Don't let it erode. Buy something or invest it in some way that has some value that doesn't erode. And one way that someone may do that is invest in these kind of low risk kind of bonds and things like that. Again, I don't know anything about this stuff. but
should I invest in a bond?
I'm just trying to share a principle that I wouldn't necessarily categorize that as gambling, like if I invest in some kind of, low interest bonds or something like that, that just with the intention just to protect what's there for some emergency or something like that. And then beyond that, there's I've heard that within the investment realm, in the financial realms, there is a trend within these realms of identifying companies that are, doing good in the world. There are people that say these are the only companies that I will invest in. If they're going to invest in that way, like invest in a company or buy stock in a company, let me buy stock in a company that I feel wholeheartedly good about. If one wants to be a Brahmin, here's a point, right? And I was just saying, like Arjuna was being asked to fight on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Sudama Brahmana wasn't. Right? Mm-hmm. If we want to be Brahmanas, which is largely what Srila Prabhupada was asking us to do, with someone like Lalita Gopi, who's living on the farm and who is deeply invested in this and initiated in this, we may want to be more careful. Like, in other words, we're not out to condemn someone because they work on the stock market or the financial realm, but at the same time, for ourselves, we may hold ourselves to a higher level of I'm not willing to invest in something that I don't feel very good about. I know I wouldn't want to invest something that I don't feel very good about. That's my own person. I wouldn't condemn someone who's looser in that. But as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't want to invest in something that I don't feel particularly good about. But I do know that, like, if you speak to financial professionals, they can say, yeah, there is a trend, and I can break open a portfolio or whatever the hell they do. I don't know what it is. And I can recommend some companies that, here's one that's developing solar energy and here's one that's doing that. It's like, you can do that. That's out there. I know that that's out there.
Did you ever read this? This is in Shama Sundar's book, Chasing Rhinos. I can't remember which volume, okay. But Shama Sundar was doing all this thing where he was buying gold. Yeah. Because the devotees in Japan who worked in the gold market, this is when they're building all the temples. So when he had some money and he said, Prabhupada, I'm going to buy some gold because the gold market is about to go up. And back then you'd have to go to Switzerland. He drove to Switzerland with Prabhupada and bought gold. And then all the other temple presidents at the time complained, Prabhupada, he's gambling with Krishna's money. He's gambling.
For him, it's okay.
Prabhupada said, for him, it's okay. For you, it's gambling.
And I think that he even describes a scene where he's sitting in some kind of financial office or something like that, and you can see the ticker tape thing going, and Prabhupada's sitting there with him, watching the thing, and then Prabhupada said, okay, let's pull out.
Oh God, I've got no good answer.
So I suppose my answer to should we risk our spiritual bank account for material security? I don't think so. No, but what exactly that means, I think, will be a little different for different people, and I think she's got to decide for herself what she feels comfortable doing. That's my answer.
Well, all right.
What about you? You want to add anything to that?
No, I don't want to add anything to that. I've got no good answer, but I like how you ended that. Don't risk your spiritual bank account.
Okay.
For material. Although I will say, you know
What?
who gave an incredible answer the other day to this was
Someone
my
asked the
friend
same question?
Vaishnav from Plentitude.
Okay. What do you say?
Someone asked a similar question, or I asked a similar question. And he's like, well, we don't have 401ks or anything actually, but you know, we've got a house that is like hurricane proof that we built out of earth. We've got all the food and stuff. You know, it's like, no, we feel really taken care of in this world. And, you know, we're planning like that, but no, that's all. We plan on just like, they're sort of like just plan on living here and dying here. It was sort of like the way he said it was so beautifully detached and trusting in God.
Yeah. You know,
It's not like we have a culture that also is going to take care of the elderly so well either, you know?
Well, you know, I kind of feel like my role in this world, you know, I play a kind of a brahminical role as like a teacher, you know, like trying to live it and teach it. And I kind of feel like as long as I do that well, I'm going to be provided for one way or another, you know, like right now, here I am as a 57-year-old man, and I just speak this stuff and try to live it, and our kind Patreon, Patreon subscribers are helping us survive. And I kind of feel like I'm only, as long as I'm practicing this sincerely and trying to develop humility, so I should be better at it as I go. You know? Yeah. And Krishna has always been my maintainer my entire life, and he'll maintain me. So that's kind of how I live. I don't have any real security in life, but I'm not saying everybody should be thinking that way.
Krishna's our Ashraya. Krishna's our Ashraya. He's our shelter. He's our security. And I feel like it's the same way.
You see, Sean Murphy just offered me I can stay with him, you know. So
I'll take care of you, Kostuba. If I have the facility, I will take care of you. Even if I don't have the facility, I'll take care of you.
All right, thank you. See, it's Krishna's taking care.
I'm your 401.
Mara, what about you?
But
You don't even feed him when you go.
I feed you.
That's a good point, Mara. Will I get food when I'm there?
No, Mara will take care of you too.
Okay.
You know, I've realized also, like,
Sean Murphy owes me because he stole my vegan sushi when I was over there. Right?
He did steal your
he's
vegan
making up for
sushi.
it now.
Hey, just being with my mom this weekend makes me realize, you know, we got to our parents really took care of us. We got to take care of them when they're older.
That's right.
You know, I just had a great week with my mom, and I appreciate her a lot. And anyway, great answer, Kostuba. Thanks for everybody that joined us today. And you know what? I think we should do Sweet Baby Krishna tonight. Sweet Baby Krishna.
Look at that. Saturday night, Sweet Baby Krishna.
You know why? Because life is short and we need to hear and chant about Krishna.
That's right.
So 7 p.m. tonight. So if you're listening to this, if you're new to this, this is our Patreon platform. Join us, Sweet Baby Krishna, 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Make sure little Karuna knows.
Little Karuna, you got to wake up in the middle of the night in Lebanon. But tonight we do stories of Krishna. Looking forward to it. And show tomorrow. So Patreon members, if you're not a Patreon member, first of all, if you are a Patreon member, thanks for everybody who supports this podcast. It's a community-supported podcast. And that's how this boat stays floating. Go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. Patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. Give whatever you can give. Once a month, if you get something out of the show your support. Appreciate it. And join us tonight for Sweet Baby Krishna. We're going to tell stories about Krishna. I get inspired and looking forward to seeing everybody tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We got the crew here. Going to be there. Mara, Mallory, and Moses, my M&M's.
Oh, that's pretty good. Mary, Mallory, and Moses.
Malibu,
Mara.
Malibu,
Minnesota,
Mara.
Mallory.
What did you say? What?
Minnesota, Mallory.
Minnesota, Mallory.
And
Moses. Moses the minister.
Mount Sinai, Moses.
He's always trying to preach to me Christian gospel.
Okay.
I think Moses is sent here to convert me. I think he's undercover from that college group. I'm serious.
He's trying to save you.
You know, he's like, yeah, Krishna's great, but he's really sly about it. He's like, yeah, Krishna's great, and so is Jesus, right? I'm like, yeah. We should put a little deity on your altar. Jesus is God too, right? I mean, coexist, right? Coexist with Jesus. I got you a bumper sticker. Kostuba, it's good to be back on the East Coast. God, some
You
great.
were on the East Coast.
Yeah, back in the Northeast, there's so much snow here. It's unbelievable. But it's all melting. It's like 45 degrees today.
The warm weather's coming. The plants are starting to sprout. The little buds are coming.
And Monday and Tuesday we're going to announce or Monday we're going to announce our Wisdom of the Sages retreat with special guest Satchidananda Swami, and we're going to get the link up. I'm not announcing because the link is not there.
We wait for the link to go.
The link gets up there, then it's going to be a race for the link. We're looking forward to seeing everybody at Super Soul Farm, hanging out with Stuba, because when Stuba comes, it gets really fun.
Does
We
it?
have a special chest we keep in the basement, and we bring it up, and in that chest are these two pillows. They just start pillow fighting at the top of the hill. And then we tackle each other and laugh and roll down that hill.
Why?
Wow,
Why? Why do you?
Pillow innards are coming out and floating in the air. And then we pick these dandelions with puppies and we blow them in each other's faces and we hold each other by the pinkies and swing each other around. Looking forward to that, Kastuba.
Yeah.